26 years ago, 19-year-old Melody Gay went missing from the 7-Eleven convenience store where she worked. 3 days later, her naked body was recovered in a canal, and she had been beaten and strangled. 37 years ago, Naples couple Ladson and Lily Metz was found killed at a campsite where they maintained a garden. These cold cases are unsolved mysteries of Collier County, but investigators hold hope they will someday crack the case.
There's people out there that know something, and we're always hopeful that those people will come forward.
Sergeant Jason Worbleski heads up Collier County's Major Crimes Unit. His team periodically reviews cold cases, and these two are currently under active investigation.
Different investigators will take a look at the cases. Again, they'll look to see if any of the evidence that is in there can be resubmitted with the new technology. A new set of eyes from a different detective sometimes is beneficial, that they may see something that another detective hasn't.
One of the first sets of eyes on the Melody Gay case was former homicide detective Harold Young. He's retired now, but this case still bothers him.
I didn't like any case unsolved. I mean, any of them that was unsolved bothered me, and it was a helpless girl that was working a night shift at a 7-Eleven store, that was taken away from her job.
On March 7, 1984, Melody Gay was working at a 7-Eleven located here at the intersection of 951 and Manatee Road, where officials say she was abducted and then later killed. Her body was recovered 3 days later in a canal in Golden Gate Estates.
There was several persons of interest that were identified, interviewed. Some were polygraphed, many were polygraphed. There was physical evidence that was found on her body. At the time, that evidence was processed to the best of their ability. Unfortunately, none of that evidence and none of the statements from witnesses, potential witnesses, people that knew Melody Gay, and the persons of interest, nothing led to the point of probable cause for arrest.
Chuck Curry covered the Melody Gay story for the Naples Daily News back in '84, and today recalls the effort put into this case.
They did the full gamut. They stopped people on the highway thinking they might have seen something without knowing it, and so they expended a tremendous amount of resources for the department.
Looking back on the Gay case, Harold Young says the lack of evidence made it difficult.
You got to prove there's motive, opportunity of the person that did it. We never could put that person there. We had reason to believe in some incidents that this guy had a reason to, enough reason that we pursued it quiet to the point where we couldn't go no further.
A lot of our cases that go unsolved, even today, if a case goes unsolved, usually that's the stumbling block, is there's either lack of physical evidence to link it to a specific person, or there's just no witnesses or no cooperation.
A lack of evidence also hindered the Metz investigation. Ladson and Lily Metz were shot several times and found dead in their garden at a campsite located off of 13th Avenue Southwest, just north of Golden Gate City, back in May of 1973.
There were persons of interest that were identified in this case also. Again, it didn't raise to the threshold where arrests were made, unfortunately. There was some evidence back then that they did locate, and again, that evidence has been looked at over the course of 37 years now, and there hasn't been anything conclusive for arrest of anybody.
The families of Lily and Ladson Metz and Melody Gay haven't had the closure of someone paying for these crimes, but the Sheriff's Office says it is actively investigating both cases, and hope remains.
We always remain hopeful that something new will come in, somebody that has direct information could lead us to a potential suspect. New technology is coming to us on a yearly basis. And with some of the evidence that we do have, some of that technology may be beneficial to pinpointing a viable suspect.